Good morning and welcome back. Today is the 15th of September 2023, and I would like to speak with you about a few ideas I have around the question, can so-called retail investors be successful? Now, that's another one of those questions that are regularly popping up in my conversations with people who are thinking about investing, people who are already investing. And many of these persons have the impression or the fear that their chances of becoming successful in investing from a retail investor viewpoint are very limited. Now, first of all, let's look a bit at what it is a retail investor. A retail investor is something different than an institutional one. That answer doesn't make any sense because we are still where we were before, right? We didn't know what a retail investor is, and we don't know what an institutional investor is. To simplify, a retail investor is somebody who invests for himself. An institutional investor is anything else, like a company, a broker, an exchange-traded fund, a pension fund, a government, anything else. So if you are investing for your own, with your own money, you are a retail investor, which I would prefer to call individual investor anyway, but that's another story. So, can a person, using only his or her skills, knowledge, experience, and so on, and his own money, become successful? The answer is yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, for many reasons, individual investors have a better chance of becoming successful in their investing activity than institutional investors. And why is that? Well, there are a number of reasons behind this, but the main one is that so-called retail investors can do whatever they want. They are free. They are free to invest or not to invest. They are free to invest in whatever asset they want. They are free to invest whatever kind of money they want. They are free to stop investing. They are free to use different methodologies, different approaches, different systems, different time frames. They can do anything they want. That freedom translates in a lot of chances to become successful that institutional investors typically don't have. I don't know if you know that, but institutional investors are often limited in their investment choices for what concerns what can they buy and sell. Some are limited to very large companies, some are only doing bonds, some are only doing currencies, and so on and so on. They are also limited by the amount of money they can decide to invest. They cannot invest less than so much. Funny enough, that's a problem. They have to invest. I mean, if you are paid as a trader by a broker, by a bank, you cannot decide that for 1 day or 1 week or 2 weeks you're not going to trade because you're doing nothing. You're not paid for doing nothing. So you have to trade. Even if you know that trading in certain market circumstances is not going to deliver great results, you still have to trade. In terms of methodology, in terms of approach to trading or investing, both ways, doesn't matter, institutional investors have rules. They have to trade in a certain way. You are not free to decide to trade in a different way. So there can be algorithmic trading, there could be technical analysis based, this could be fundamental analysis based, doesn't matter. But they have to follow the rules set by the company they work for. You, as a retail investor, do not have that problem at all. You can really do whatever you want within the limits, of course, of the money and time you have and the technical competencies you have, right? But you're free. You're absolutely free. So accepting this idea that retail investors can be very successful and probably more successful than institutional investors, the question comes on why 70 to 80% of retail investors actually lose money consistently by trying to trade or to invest their money on the stock market. I already gave some elements of it in one of the previous presentations I made. There are a few videos that I made before where I was talking about the personality traits and the competencies that a person must have in order to be successful. But that's not, these are many different factors, let's put it this way. But what really makes the difference, I think, between a successful investor like a retail investor and an institutional one is the fact that the institutional one knows one thing that retail investors keep ignoring. And this is the 3T concept. The 3T concept, which I called it in this way, is not new, it's just the way I call it, is things take time. Institutional investors are very, very good in waiting. They are not in a rush. They are not responding emotionally to events. They are just waiting. They take a position. After having decided it's a good idea to take that position, they do some homework about it, quite extensive homework. They take a position and then they wait. They have a systematic approach to investing. The fact that the market tanks 20% is not going to move them necessarily. They might decide to move anyway, but not in a rush, not emotional. They have their rules, and they follow their rules. Retail investors, unfortunately, have this major weakness. They are always in a rush. They are always expecting something that should happen today, maximum tomorrow, and it really, really needs to in 1 week time. If that's what they expect does not happen, what they do is they sell at a loss. Institutional investors normally do not sell at a loss. They wait. They prefer to wait, and they are able to wait for a very long time. So things take time is something that really makes the difference between a successful investor and somebody who is losing money all the time. The fact is that we like it or not, many developments in the stock market are actually depending on developments within companies. Companies do not go up 10% in value from one day to the other. When you buy a share, you buy a company, okay? You buy a piece of it. So you participate to the development of that company by owning shares of it, parts of it, right? A company does not make a load of profit, double their size, double their capitalization, double their profit in a week time. It takes months. It can take years. It will probably take years. So when you buy a company with the idea that that specific company will grow, will change, will get extremely rich in a very, very short amount of time, you're wrong, because that's probably not going to happen. It's very rare. What I discovered, let's put it this way, what I discovered many, many years ago is that time is one of my best friends. Waiting for things to happen means that things have a chance to happen in the way I expect it. If I expect something that is most probably not going to happen, and I get disappointed, frustrated, worried, scared, and I sell that company at less than what I bought it for, I lose money. So not losing money, waiting enough time, and just being patient is a real big thing in enhancing your chances of success. And that's one of the reasons why I don't particularly like day trading, among many other things. And I did day trading, by the way, so I remember how it works, okay? And the reason why I don't particularly like day trading and short-term trading in general is that investors or traders put themselves limits to what they consider success. So for me, for instance, if I buy a position in a company and that position makes 10% in a year, I'm fine, because 10% in a year is something, first of all, it's a profit. Secondly, it is more or less at the same level of what the benchmark would do. Standard Poor 500 makes around 9-10% per year, thereabouts. But especially, it makes money. It makes money and doesn't lose money, right? 1 year, 10% is fine. Better, 15%, 20%, I don't know. I never know when I take position where it will go exactly. But I take all the time of the world. I can wait, and I will wait. When we're talking about day traders and short-term traders, they expect their investing, their trading, to deliver a result in a very, very short amount of time. That means that their chances of success are far lesser than what I do in general. Okay, simply because I have all the time of the world and I use all the time of the world, whereby they set themselves in a constrained situation, they give themselves limits by which if things are not going in the direction they want, they eventually lose money. Day traders in particular are those who need to close all their positions, but they end because, as a principle of day trading, when the market closes, all positions are closed, right? So there is nothing that remains overnight. That's day trading. Which means they put themselves in a situation where if things are not going the way they think they should go within the short amount of time the markets are open, they eventually lose money. Now, there are day traders that are making fortunes. I have no doubt that there are a lot of people who are successful in some way to make money while day trading. They use technical analysis, they use indicators, they use a lot of things. Those systems do not work for me, so I stopped using them a long time ago. But one of the most important messages I want to give you here is that whatever approach you want to use, time is really important. And we, for some reason, got unused to the idea of waiting. We expect everything to happen very, very quickly. And with certain things, it can happen. With other things, it doesn't. And for what concerns investing, in most cases, time is a function of profit, and profit is a function of time. The longer you wait, the better chance you have to make a profit. These ideas are not new at all. I am not inventing anything here. I mean, the 3T concept maybe is mine, I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter. But if you listen to those who actually became legends of investing, the Warren Buffetts and the relatively small group of really legendary investors, everybody will tell you on the basis of years and years and years of experience and billions of profits, that time is something that you cannot really take out of the equation. You have to wait. The more you wait, the better chances you have. The less impulsive your behavior is, the more rule-based your investing approach is, the more systematic it is, the better it gets. Everything works if it is allowed to work. And allowed to work means it is It needs to be a machine that actually runs, and it needs to run for a certain period of time in order to deliver a certain result. Retail investors, unfortunately, in the vast majority of cases, don't do that. They have all the freedom of the world, they can do everything they want, but they don't do a few things that institutional investors do very, very well and do very, very consistently. And that explains, to a large extent, why institutional investors normally are successful, whereby retail investors normally lose money. So since I am a retail investor myself, I was considering these ideas a long time ago, and I discovered that by not waiting, I was losing a lot of money. I was tracking my investments, and I was tracking every time I was selling at a loss. And 90% of the times, at least, I discovered that 6 months from that moment, 1 year from that moment, I would actually make money with exactly the same investment. If I just waited long enough, a losing money situation would have become a making money situation. That opens, by the way, another little aspect that I would like to tell you about. And that's one of the Warren Buffett's main rules, 2 rules. First rule sounds like never lose money, and the second rule sounds like never forget rule number 1. If you would apply as a retail investor this approach, where you do not sell a position until it is profitable, and you avoid at all costs losing money in trading, again, just by waiting long enough, the success rate of retail investors will skyrocket. At the moment, retail investors in 70-80% of the cases lose money. If they would stop losing at a loss, just doing that, if they would stop selling at a loss, just doing that, and would wait long enough, they would be a 70-80% of successful retail investors instead of losing retail investors. And one of the things that I just touch upon here, I will probably discuss this in another video, but one of the things that I hate the most, and what retail investors are doing a lot, is using stop losses, what I call take losses. But that's a subject for another discussion. For the time being, the only thing I wanted to share with you are my opinions about what is the success rate of retail investors if they would do something that big investors are doing. Having all the freedom of the world and using the right approach would radically change their success rate anyway. This video is for the educational purpose only, is not financial advice of any shape or form. As usual, you know the drill. I'm just sharing with you my ideas and my opinions. And you might agree or disagree, maybe your experiences are different. I would like to hear about them because, it would be interesting to have a kind of conversation about different aspects of investing. And your comments and questions can help in developing that kind of conversation, take into account different aspects, different ideas, and so on. So, if you want to comment or ask questions, please do. Subscribe if you want. Thumbs up, you know the drill. It's always the same story. Thank you very much for your attention, and talk to you next time. Bye now.